Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Shelley, if you start with that.
Councilman Carvey, Councilwoman Bozak, Councilman Loving,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCart,
Yes.
Councilwoman Scott.
Yes. Approval of minutes.
So moved.
Discussion. Roll call.
Councilwoman Bozak,
Here.
Councilwoman Bozak, approval of minutes,
Oh, yes, sorry.
Councilman Loving,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCart,
Yes.
Councilwoman Scott.
Yes. Reports. Me.
Nothing.
Roseanne. Nothing right now. Nick.
No, I'll wait till RDC.
Jennifer. No. Clay.
With regards to the town road inventory, you've all received the email with the draft. Easement agreements and correspondence. I don't know if you had a chance to look at that, if there's any thoughts or comments or suggested ways to contact the property owners, especially people want to really well familiar with. Otherwise, I'll just send that, and I have the email address too. I can mail that and email it to them.
I read it. I was fine with it.
And with regards to the COMSTA, I'll probably just email that to those folks who are essentially Cleveland Cliffs.
Okay with that?
That's fine with me.
All right.
Is Martin on? Who's trying to run this? Martin's on?
Martin,
Yes.
here.
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I reviewed it and seems to meet everything that we would need for the right of way. So I think it looks great and no other comment from us.
Thank you, Martin. The two of you, will you both be really. Anything?
I mean, just to reflect it in the minutes, we just know that the building commissioner has tendered his resignation. No longer with us, so we thank him for his service to the town.
There's no updates you guys need to start.
Just regular work.
Moving on?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, while we're on building, can we talk about this, the $35?
Oh,
We can't do how it was submitted. You can't bill the 35 for the reviews while you're on the clock, because it's like double,
Oh, I didn't know. I just put it on.
okay, 'cause it's like double counting,
Yeah.
so. So the ones that you did that were during the workday, you can't charge
That's fine.
the fee for those. Do we want to?
I just been reflecting it on my regular time card so that,
but those hours, do you need to get billed?
They need to get billed.
They need to get paid out of building
Okay.
department for that.
So you,
Or however, do you want to either transfer it to yours? Or Jane, how would you like that to go?
It would need to come out of the building department if that's what the council wishes, and he needs to indicate such. No transferring, that muddies it up.
Okay.
But he cannot do it during business hours.
No, so
Unless
like-
they pay.
No, so
oh, no, we're not talking the extra 35.
no,
Yeah,
so like when he goes and does inspections or does plan reviews or something, I don't want street department paying for building department hours. So his hourly rate can that come from the building and then the
I
rest?
see, I
Yes.
see what you're saying, yes. So he would just need to reflect, similar to what they do with sanitation, saying this is this many
Okay.
hours on building, this is this many on street. And then we can pay him accordingly.
Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no,
misunderstood.
you're fine.
So can you both do that, please?
Yeah, pretty much the way we've been doing it, just so you guys know, is Rob's been handling it. And then if he's short, then I'm gonna step in. So that's the way we've been doing it.
So that's
That's the next
that
question.
is a good question. I'll rephrase it for everybody, what Angie just said. Do we want them to clock out and then pay them the $35 inspection fee, and then they clock back in? Can we do that?
You can do that, but will that short them pay? Keep in mind how much they get paid per hour, depending on how long the inspection takes, they're now being shorted
Okay, so
their
would you rather be
time,
paid
so-
for your inspection, you clock out and then you finish your hours, or would you like to be just paid your time and whatever you do for building comes out of building and whatever comes for street is comes out of street? Or-
let's go that way.
Okay.
Seems easier.
It seems,
Yeah.
okay. That way you're like 60 hours a week either, by the time you're done with inspections and whatnot.
And they're gonna note that on time cards, that's how you want it.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, their time sheets and time cards that, time sheets and, yes.
And do we need a motion to do that? Let's make one anyway.
Some type of motion saying that these gentlemen are gonna be filling in an interim as the building commissioner and be paid because the building commissioner's hourly rate is different as well, so just being clear that they're getting paid their regular rate, all of that.
Okay, so I'll make a motion that in the absence of a full-time building commissioner, Rob Wesley and Bill Arnie are gonna be filling in. And they're gonna bill their building department related hours back to the building department so that it doesn't affect street or fire. And they're gonna be paid at their current rate for those hours.
They want to work, oh, sorry.
Can we amend?
Oh, second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Councilman Hopkins,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCarr. Yes. Councilwoman Wozak. Yes. Councilwoman Scott.
Yes. Oh, when it comes to building commissioner, how long are applications being taken for?
I advertised them to be ready so that you guys could make a decision about interviews for this evening. If you wanted to take them longer, we certainly could. I think we have 7 applicants now.
We'll take them longer.
Can we take them longer? Yeah, can we go to the end of June
Please.
and then we'll have interviews? Yeah. Rob. General maintenance, we wanted to go.
We have, with the weather, we've kind of been in a standstill as far as getting curb pitting going. I do have the machine. However, with the pending rain every day, we can't start painting and then it start raining and then we're gonna be making a big mess. So as soon as we get a break in the weather, we're gonna start working on the curbs. And then, we kind of put a Band-Aid on a bullet hole on Castle Street, trying to get that somewhat a little smoother, but it's in bad shape. But it's just been business as usual, pardon?
Castle on our list for this year.
No,
Hey, Mark, are you still there?
Yes, I'm here.
If you have an opportunity, can you go take a look at Castle Street and reassess where Castle Street sits on the list, the road list?
Yeah, with those issues, it would be prime for applying for the CCMG and getting funding to do it possibly this year.
That would be
Um,
cheaper.
I can put together that in an estimate, but it would be in addition to what you might already want to budget for CCMG. So it's kind of dependent on what you guys were looking at for a budget. It get you that amount, and then you could kind of determine how much you want to spend after you see that amount, or just maybe it would just be that standalone project. But that application is going to open next month. So if you had an idea of what budget you wanted to work with, I could put together a more exact list of streets with what you were thinking about.
Can you do something already appropriated for it? No? Okay.
No, we were planning to do the same, because we're always by the time we got last year's, it was late enough that we're paving this year, or find out how it works. So we can look at that
Okay.
at budget time, of course, because by the time they award that, it'll be this fall. And then we'll have a certain period of time to get bids and submit them, right, Martin?
Right, that's correct. It could be accelerated and possibly at the end of the year if they expedited the award. Last year it came a little late, so we did not have time for that. So Jane's correct. We had to have the bid in It was over the winter, so we could do spring construction.
You already have an amount for the current list that you have.
Let me see. So just moving up the list, I have I could give you kind of the best to worst. If we just work that way, I could give you a quick estimate for those
That'll work.
and tell you what would be included.
Or actually, can you send that in an email
Yes.
so that we can just look at that so we have it for budget time?
Yeah, that's not a problem.
Thank you.
And if you could, if you have an opportunity to look at Castle and replace it on the list so that we know in order where it sits.
Yes, I can do that.
Okay,
Thank you.
because if it's gonna move up to the top, it could potentially push somebody else down below where we wanna go with the budget, and we just need to be able to decide.
Right. And these are getting reevaluated in the next 2 weeks here. We got our camera system up and we do a 2-year evaluation, which you guys already have a task order for, and it's already been approved. We're going to be starting that work in the next 2 weeks, and you'll have updated values for the next meeting. So it'll be everything's going to be updated at that time, including Castle. Just to keep you aware of that's where that project is right now.
Thank you.
My original plan was going to saw cut, dig it out and kind of patch it ourselves. But it's 80 feet long and it's entire lane of traffic and it's way too much for us to handle without having a paving machine and, you know, a roller, and it's just, it'd be too much.
One other question for Plank,
Yes,
it's like falling into a cavern on the,
I know, I hated to do it, but we had to put some patch in, I had to, it was getting bad.
oh, you had fixed it.
Yeah.
They were captured.
You could see yesterday, okay, that's one,
Yeah.
so it was awful, so I didn't come that way to get here, so.
We ran out of patch. Between that, we also patched the end of Hagland, that was damaged by them moving a trailer on Rainbow. And I would like to know how the council wants me to handle that, because that was our time and material that we put into fixing the road because they drove a truck down that road when they're not supposed to. Do we
New
wanna,
people or the old people did?
I believe it was,
The moving company. I don't know the name of the moving company.
I have all their information.
They were moving a trailer out.
Yep.
It's a local delivery. It's local.
They had to obtain a permit to move this trailer, so we know specifically who it is. Our building department would have all the documentation.
But they got the permit?
Yeah, absolutely. That was the big issue with all the lawyers and everything else, was that specific incident, and they did have a permit to do that.
I'm not joking.
Yeah.
I want the bill sent to them for damages. How do we go about that, Greg?
You can give me a copy of the documents.
Okay.
I mean, the permit, the invoice, any reports.
Insurance, all of it. Can you get that to him by like, what is it? So that, is that possible?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I want the bill sent.
And CC all of us when you send it to him, please.
Well, the,
That's where she'll has been reached for that situation. They fix it. Rob,
Yes.
there's a PO in there for the bathroom.
yes,
I don't know what fund you have it coming from, it's just a bunch of numbers and I don't know numbers. It needs to be switched over to CCD because it is part of that bathroom repair, the plumbing is.
okay,
So that needs to just be switched over to CCD, so. I don't know.
okay, Lori's out of the office until Monday, so I
Gina,
will,
are we allowed to just cross out the fund number and write CCD on it or no? Okay.
Oh.
So
Do you
let's
know
just-
what the PO number
I
is
just-
off the top of your head?
No, it's
Or
the
the
bathroom,
vendor?
it's in there on the table, it's just the PEX and stuff. So I'll just cross out afterwards and put it in the CCD.
Yeah, thank
I
you.
just want to make sure.
okay.
Okay. Right,
What we were talking about.
start
Should
it
we
now.
go with the south wall
Start with
first?
South Wall.
We're having a real difficult time getting somebody to do the south wall. So I made her talk to Rob today and Brandon, and asked if I could use Brandon for a week or so to tear that south wall down ourselves and remodel it. He was okay with it. Brandon was okay with it. It'll probably be 2 weeks before I actually get to start it. I got to order the material for it, if that's all right with you guys.
Yeah.
I believe it's gonna be between $5,000 and $8,000 for the material part of it.
Jane,
What is your thoughts?
I have a question for Jane. If we do that, are you allowed to do payroll through CCD too, or no? No, so the payroll has to come from, okay, just want to make sure, because I was gonna put everything in there. Okay. If you want to-
Right, I'll make them,
I'm sorry, Mike, can you repeat how much you thought it might cost?
Between, 5 to 8, yeah.
Okay, I mean, I'm not holding you to it, I just
Yeah.
wanted a better, thank you.
I don't know what we're gonna run into,
Sure,
but we'll have a better idea of the rest of the building.
okay, thank you.
okay, so knowing what everything costs right now and knowing that it's gonna cost more tomorrow, I'll make a motion to allocate not to exceed 12,000 for the softball and materials
12,000.
from CCD.
I'll second.
You can't.
You
I'll
can,
second.
And
I
then,
can't, right. No, it's the town hall.
It's a town building, it's not.
It's
a
not the police
department.
department
That's true.
necessarily, it's the town hall.
Okay.
But whatever you guys want to do, I'm just pointing out, it is the town hall.
Part of the police department, so I just think you could do it.
I mean, it's a second, so.
yeah, we're okay.
Just make sure. Are we gonna do
What do you want seconding it?
this one? There's not much you
I'm gonna put Zan, and, you guys.
Discussion, roll call.
Councilwoman McCord.
Yes.
Councilwoman Bozak.
Yes.
Councilman Loving.
Yes.
Councilwoman Scott.
Yeah.
what color? Siding wise, what color? I can get white real easy, but we can go
What color what?
for the siding,
Oh,
for the metal.
It's probably nothing to match this lovely. I'll say.
Absolutely not.
Tone, I don't even know if it's
What's
brown,
that?
gray.
What's it, nothing will match what we have right now.
No,
I don't know what it is. Can we do like a dark?
well, I can try.
If you go white right now, though, at least you could paint it easily to match, as opposed to you go to some other color and
Just
it's
keep
gonna be a
going on,
struggle to match
You
on.
should get up to
ours.
12,000, just keep going as far as you can.
and
Just keep
white,
it-
and
just
white
go
will
with it.
probably be cheaper.
Just keep going, yeah. Why don't probably be easier to get at this point too?
White will probably be the easiest to
I would
get,
go with white.
and then we can adjust it later.
Got anything else?
Not that I know.
Oh,
of.
that's-
Jeremy, do we add anything else?
Not right now.
I mean, it's one of those massive list.
It's just too.
Oh, there you said, Bill. Sorry. Before it's in your box, I don't have nothing real big, other than what you guys have on the agenda.
Jane, at RDC, we did approve up to $100,000 through the end of January of 23 to cover the gap in payroll for part-time wages for ambulance drivers until we figure out either a solution or we start to, I guess, shut it down. But it's only be used to bridge the gap.
Up to 100,000
Yes.
till the end of January 23.
Yeah, so
Is that
because
right?
because I didn't know what the first payroll for the end of the year would be in January.
Thank you.
So. if anyone has any kind of idea on what to do? No. Okay. Sanitation?
Sanitation we've been working on, we had some issues, over on lift station number 6 and Cortland's Landing.
We have 45 minutes.
Yeah,
Are they paying the bill?
what's that?
Are they paying that bill?
We need to discuss that at sanitary board because it's also, it's a shared fault. They do hold some of the harm, why we weren't notified. However, we had an equipment failure too that we found out. So, the equipment failure is what actually caused the lift station not to function.
Oh.
So,
That's fine.
yeah. But it was our manual float system that went bad overnight. But unfortunately, we weren't
Just-
notified.
Just to offer some detail on this,
How did he not do it?
well, they did it on Thursday afternoon.
Oh, because of their system.
They
But
made
it's
is when
their
they put it-
notification, that's the reason they didn't.
So that's why we didn't get notified, but the reason that it pumped down and continued to pump was because our manual flow like that. So, we didn't discuss that at sanitary.
About 10:30 in the morning on Saturday. One of my neighbors called me and said he thinks that there was a problem. We went out and pulled the manhole covers in Cortland's and they were all stopped the whole way. And that's how we knew that it was lift station 6. And Bill, Rob, Adam Friday. Was anybody else out there?
No, not until I called the contractors.
So we were all out there on Saturday, and I know everybody was checking the lift station. I know I was there that night. I drove by and got out and looked just to make sure that the pump was still going, but I'll say conservative estimate, it was like 45 minutes away from every plumbing fixture in Cortland's Landing and Cherno Creek backing up.
Yeah, and we did have some backups, so luckily they were all just in tubs and so we were lucky. We had no damage to any homes.
So
So
thank you guys.
just to let the
For
board know,
Saturday.
and I'll let the sanitary board know too, and you're welcome, Nick. The cost that the town had accrued besides our labor being out there is the back truck and the bypass pump that I had to get out there to pump the system down. So that's the cost that we're gonna incur as a town, as a sanitary board, so. But at least there was no homes that were damaged, so that's what I'm thankful for. First time 14 years that we've had an issue like that, so.
Park. So we have the Footloose coming up on June 25th. Our first week of day camp starts next week on Monday, as well as art camp, which is already sold out. So those are the good things. We need a lifeguard. If anybody knows anybody who is certified as a lifeguard and looking for a job, currently at the park, we cannot open the beach because we don't have any lifeguards. Well, I take it back. We have one guy, but he's not a full-time guy. So I talked to Kim today and we talked about, we can't sell gate passes if we don't have a beach for people to get into, which is going to be a huge loss for the park. That's, you know, most of the money that they bring in during the summer. So Kim is asking the town if they can, if the park can pay to certify anyone that would apply to lifeguard. In the past, the town has frowned upon that sort of thing because if we pay for someone to be certified and then they don't show up and they don't come, then there's no wages to garnish, you know, there's no other way. Kim said that, and the board said that they would discuss on the board how they would handle that if somebody, you know, left without, you know, working for the town. But right now they're just trying to think of ideas to get a lifeguard. You know, the Chesterton or the Duneland YMCA is not opening their pool this year. They have no lifeguards. Deep River Water Park is very slim on hours because they don't have lifeguards. Our wages are pretty competitive with, you know, where you would be going as, you know, a 17, 18-year-old person that would be a lifeguard. You could work at Wendy's, you could work with SOD as a lifeguard and make the same amount of money. So that's where the park is on that.
What is that dollar value you know?
To get certified, it's about between $300 and $400 to certification.
Could we have a signed contract?
And that's it, because it would be what the board, their board would decide how they would go about doing that. She even suggested hiring them in as team help while they're going through their certification, so that they are employees of the town when you know, when the park pays for it. But
How long's the certification process?
there's different classes and different ways to get certified, so it just all.
Like, are we looking at a week, a month?
I believe the one that Kim sent me earlier was like a 2-week class. But right now, there's not a lot of classes going on, so she's been in touch with the Valpo YMCA. They offer certifications there. They don't currently have any classes going on.
So I guess my problem with that is, so even if we do this, let's say we get people hired in and they start the 20th, and we're now. It's 2 weeks worth of classes. That means by 4th of July, it's not worth it.
Right.
By 4th of July, you got two months.
The park is open until September.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So if they're trained and certified by the 4th of July, you literally have like. Just, Labor Day is September 5th.
How much money does the park raise in gate fees
5,000, we're on
a year,
5,000.
give or take?
And so 5,000 gate fees, but I mean, you're looking at least 1,200 just in certification. So really the gap is now 3,800
That's wages.
plus all the wages that you're now
But
paying.
you're losing, but by closing, by not trying to make an effort, you're losing people that are coming to the park. There's a lot of conversation in the area about the cost of going to other beaches in the area. So money wise, you just don't want to put put the park in the back of people's mind by not having it open.
What's the hourly rate?
Because then I look at what if these people quit and then
That
we
I
still don't have
don't
any money.
know. Do you know the?
It's $13 an hour.
Okay, nobody's gonna do that job for $13 an hour.
They can pay up to 19.
Yeah, they can pay up to.
You better-
So what happens if we train them, takes 2 weeks, and then let's say we hired 4 people, 2 of them quit, which in this day and age is not unheard of. We're back at square one.
I would recommend that they immediately raise the starting offer on that.
I don't think they can do that.
They can.
They
you said
can
do
pay
it.
up to $19 an hour.
There's a range
There's a
on
range.
the.
Yeah, there's a
They
range.
can pay up to $19 an hour for like
I don't know what's
hours
gonna
on the
run.
current salary ordinance that has been adopted.
It's gonna
Yeah, but
cost.
like where they're advertised, I haven't seen anything on, maybe other things that Kim has advertised, but I haven't seen anything that says like, come here and make $13 an hour, it's email me or call, for information.
That also might be right. People are applying.
What if we put a dollar amount out there?
She doesn't,
It's their attention.
It's hard
We
to myself
could-
miserable for hourly jobs to do, trust me.
we have reached out in a lot of places, a lot of different areas where she hasn't gotten any applications.
I don't even know if raising the rates now, I'm not even.
I would recommend, I don't think, I don't think we can train them just because there's not time, like maybe more than 13.
Yeah,
Then Clay, I just have.
they're not even getting any little tiny bites.
Because contracts with
Even-
employees are kind of miserable to uphold anyways, especially with a teenager.
If we were to do something on training, not for this year, but for next year's, I think Angie's right, we're already into July at this point, if we had somebody now.
Yeah.
Do we have any liability on if we trained the person?
Well, we wouldn't be training.
We wouldn't train them.
No,
If-
yeah,
if
we
pay-
have
if
to
we
have
pay- if we pay
certified.
for it.
Liability for paying, I mean, it's just like the,
It'd be like just like hiring.
If
you
they,
know, when Bill goes to training for sanitation, we pay for it. I think it's just if you want to hire them on. And if that's part of their reimbursement or we pay for it directly. I would suggest raising the wage and trying
That's
to
just raising the
steal,
wage.
steal someone who's already certified away from
Yeah.
some other indoor pool or the dunes or neighborhood pool. Or maybe they work, a few days a week at that other pool and a couple of days here just patchwork, because otherwise you're bringing in no money.
Right.
I mean, how many lifeguards do you need to even open?
Well, she has one. The one that she has, she could open, but you have to limit how many people you can allow on the beach.
Like
That's
how many lifeguards does she have in a normal season?
2 to 3.
For like.
She does.
Means per shift.
That's what I say, like, how many do, like, total lifeguards
Oh,
does she
I don't know
need?
how many you require.
Kim mentioned this morning that if she could at least get 4, she could open some.
Yes.
If she could at least have 4 people to rotate through, she could open some.
I would tell her to immediately go to the top end of the range on the salary and
So you should get it.
Let's see if you can get any.
By the time we
Okay.
pay for.
She does say that she does have, one person who has an application in that would get certified if the park paid for it.
Contact the swim coaches at the local high schools.
Yep.
We have reached out to all the swim air, the Duneland Swim Club, I've sent an email to the swim coaches at the high
Do
school.
it again, let's do a wage.
Hmm?
Do it
Do it again and list the wage.
Okay.
How long do you have to be?
15. 15, yeah, 15 is, she said 15 is the youngest that she's ever, you can get certified. I don't know what the rules are for lifeguard certification, but 15 is the youngest lifeguard we've ever had at the park. And it's, it's a pretty extensive, I don't know if you've ever seen like the tests or whatever that the lifeguards have, I mean, it's not like, my kid, I can just be like, hey, go get certified tomorrow and,
Right.
Okay.
Nope, you can just on my issue.
Shared ethics. You have correspondence, IDEM received air permit application. Mr. Ball. Did I skip? I said shared ethics. Oh, you're the shared ethics person
Today.
today.
And I've been to the shared ethics meetings. They sent an email out the other day that said Burns Harbor has Tony Biancardi,
Yes.
Bill Arnie, and Ashanya Jumovich have been certified as trainers. What's that?
Shana Dunovich, Shana
I don't have the
Dunovich.
slightest
I'm
idea.
telling you.
Yeah, that's what it is.
I've never seen that combination of letters.
That's fine, Shana Dunovich.
And I have to talk to them about the way they send out their emails, because just to get this was 12 pages. Because of all the graphics and the great big colored rectangles and what have you. My printer was just printing out junk. So, but the next meeting, well, that's not on here, but it's next month. They only have a meeting every other month, so there isn't a whole lot to report. Last time I was there, I said, you guys are sending out brochures, and they said, well, we want to give them to the guys, me, to take to the town, and I said, okay. I called the council or the clerk treasurer, and I said, whoever I answered the phone, I said, how many employees do they have? They gave them a number, I sent it in. And the person said, well, we forgot to order your brochures, and I said, so it's been a bit of a cluster, and as soon as I get some info, I'll bring it in.
Thank you. It's nice to see you. Okay, correspondence, IDEM received air permit application. We're back to this, what is this, Beamsterberg? Beamsterberg, Slide Court, contractor of ArcelorMittal. Redevelopment Commission, no excess assessed value in its tax allocation areas for 2022 to 2023. Duneland Chamber of Commerce, in-kind donation request of fire and police protection, $2,500 in kind. They didn't ask for cash, they just want fire and police.
That was my understanding of the email I forwarded to you.
Okay, Chester Porter Rotary Club, Porter Family Fourth Best Donation Request. Okay, presentation of resolutions, petitions.
Well, I think we did.
Oh, it's not down here? No, it's a special spot down here.
Rotary Club request.
I don't know, all of it's only down here. Jamie, help me here.
What do you mean?
Is the commerce on down at the bottom somewhere?
No, they just sent them to me
I
via
know.
correspondence,
No,
sorry.
you should just tell us something on the agenda.
I'm
That's
sorry.
I just see. Okay,
I followed what Jamie was doing.
well, I did it, so you should take your seat back. Okay, commerce, what do we want to do for, fireworks?
What are you guys thinking? Police and fire.
We're already doing it. Starting is every year, yeah.
We are, same thing, we had talked to Tony Biancardi about it once, and it was, we generally offer 1 to 2 officers, depending on what we coordinate with the Porter Police Department. And then also assist up with our duty officers covering their regular calls. I mean, that's generally what we do every year, so.
We're sending 4-wheeler with a medic bag and a diver, so that's what we did.
Okay, Cheshire Porter Rotary Club, the Porter Family Fourth Fest donation. Previously, we've donated $300.
Make a motion to donate $300 again this year.
Discussion? Roll call?
Councilwoman Bozak,
Yes.
Councilman Loving,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCarr,
Yes.
Councilwoman Scott.
Yes. Okay, presentation of resolutions, petitions, communications, ordinance, and remonstrance. Resolution 2022-11.
Town of Burns Harbor appropriations transfer be it hereby resolved by the town council of the town of Burns Harbor, Porter County, Indiana. That the following transfer of funds be made within the general maintenance department's 2022 budget. $5,000 for part-time labor 3-113 into gasoline 3-221. Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Councilman Loving,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCarr,
Yes.
Councilwoman Bozak,
Yes.
Councilwoman Scott.
Yes. Resolution 2022-12.
Town of Burns Harbor appropriations transfer be it hereby resolved by the town council of the town of Burns Harbor, Porter County, Indiana, that the following transfer of funds be made within the Marshal Department's 2022 budget. $4,196 from corporal salary 2-119 into $875 into uniforms 2-244, $140 into instruction 2-311, $3,017 into insurance 2-342, and $164 into building repairs 2-361. Motion to approve.
Okay. Second. Discussion? Roll call?
Councilwoman McCarr. Councilwoman Bozak,
Yes.
Councilman Loving,
Yes.
Councilwoman Scott.
Yes. Okay, staff anniversaries. Bill has 14 years this year.
No.
You feel more like 30?
What's that?
Does it feel more like 30?
It's actually been 34 that I've been with the town, but not full time.
Yeah. Clay's been here 7.
Jane tried to short me a year and pointed out.
Sorry, it seems like
Every year
yesterday,
counts.
Clay, it just seems like yesterday.
Fresh face.
Thank you.
And then we have Mike, who's been here for 15 years, and I think Jeremy has something going on here.
So I talked with Tony Biancardi and we had this made for you. It's basically an appreciation of your 15 years of service to the town, you know, on behalf of the town council, the police department, as well as the residents of the town. So just thank you for your service. Thank you for what you do for us every day.
Thanks,
Jeremy. Hey, I knew you would like this. That's why I covered it.
Now Bill has to back.
I didn't like seeing it.
Better try.
You had no idea.
Park 5K Footloose Road closure for Saturday, June 25th from 7:20 to 8:30. Rob, is that something you can help with?
Yeah, we need to, if needed,
Yeah.
we're on it.
I'd appreciate that. Can you get with Tony, not Tony, Kim?
Yep.
And find out exactly what she's wanting closed. And whoever.
They usually advertise it so the
Yes.
residents know and all of that stuff, so.
Yeah.
And typically the council makes a motion to approve it,
Yeah.
because you're closing public roads.
I'll make a motion to close the road Saturday, June 25th from 7:20 to 8:30 a.m.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Councilwoman Bozak,
Yes.
Councilman Loving,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCarr,
Yes.
Councilwoman Scott.
Yes. Is that you, Rob, or is that the police that you do it?
Both.
Okay, we're good. Just throw the whole other department in with you. Okay, ambulance service. Anyone?
We bridged ourselves through to January, but I think we have to have a better plan than that. So
Anyone have any suggestions?
I would ask if the town attorney could please deliver to us next month an ordinance for a services fee. Even if it's just as a draft, you have to come up with something. We talked about this at the RDC, I get it, it feels like we're doing it on our own because the county is not gonna help us with this, and I'm just not willing to gamble lives for money, so we have to figure it out.
When you say Amy, our ordinance for services fee, what do you mean to the people who use the service?
Not like a tax, almost,
It's like a town service, like a fee,
a public service fee.
a public service fee.
I'll get with Jane on that. I mean, I'm not sure what because there's some people who live in town that you don't even know live in town because they're not a property owner, if they're a renter.
Mhm.
We don't have,
I think they charge like every unit. It's always
Don't get paid by,
by the.
so are you saying to put on the property taxes? I'm not,
we're asking you to look into it.
I'll get with the clerk treasurer on that. I'm not sure how we wrap that. I mean, just as we have made efforts to take people who haven't paid to small claims, but sometimes there's reasons why you're not gonna collect. As you may know, I represent Portage Township as well, and an unincorporated Portage Township as the South Haven Fire Department. I was in court in Portage this morning and dismissed one of the lady passed away shortly after us giving her a ride to the hospital. Not gonna collect that. You know, some people, especially with where you're located with the highways and a lot of people traveling through, you know, it's not just Burns Harbor roads. You have people traveling through roadways who, you know, if you don't get all the contact information, or even if you do, when we're suing someone in the state of New York, they don't care if they have a default judgment or $800 ambulance bill. But those add up, and I get it affects the town. So I'll be happy to chat with you and court treasurer and anybody else, but I don't know how you're gonna collect on that fee too.
I think it goes under property taxes.
Do you have any
I'm not aware of any service fee that the town can charge that will go on a property tax bill.
Yeah,
But I certainly will ask, I will be with State Board of Accounts next week in training, and I can certainly ask someone, but I am not aware of anything the town can do to put on a personal, on a property tax bill. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
I think we're on that too.
Yeah, the only thing I could say that I would offer is maybe reach out to somebody in Lake County and see how they're doing it, because I do know that they adopted it. I have heard some quorums that the commissioners have talked about doing a public safety tax, like LaPorte County just adopted. But I don't know how that will affect us or not. But one thing I will say is I think that we definitely need to talk after the meeting, because there's some things that are, if it's not going to be sustainable anymore, then we need to know that, because I need to figure out how we're going to move forward. Because right now, like we've talked as my liaison, I need manpower. I can't hire, I'm not willing to hire somebody if they're going to be let go tomorrow or next month. So there's a lot of things there that we need to know on which direction we're going. And it seems like that, well, I'll just shut up there, but it seems like that we need to make sure that this is moving somewhere. I will tell you guys, as the council, there is not a worse time to shut an ambulance down than right now, because we are being begged for our services, because the county does not have enough ambulances. And I know you guys have read the contract, and that contract isn't even working. They're short. It's just everywhere is busy. Portage, city of Portage is busier than they've ever been. The county is just, I'm telling you, you could talk to anybody, at the worst situation that they've ever been for ambulances. So I know that doesn't help the money situation, but I just want you guys to know the full effect moving forward. We'll do what we got to do as a fire department, but as a town, it scares me, so.
If he's talking about a LaPorte County tax or a Lake County tax, that's a county council and county commissioner's decision, not a town's decision.
Yeah, that's what I said, a lower tax.
And so you would have to speak to your county council who adopt those taxes and suggest that they do it, and they would adopt it countywide. It wouldn't just be Burns Harbor wide, it'd be countywide.
That's what I said, right?
So. I mean, I will ask to see if there's something I'm not aware of, but if you're talking about a safety tax, that's a county decision, not a town
No, I
decision.
agree. So I would suggest, those of us who know people on the county council, and, the county commissioner, certainly for the Northern District. Maybe reach out to those folks and see if they can fill us in on what the latest, thoughts and plans are for that area.
This week. For discussion. Talk about it this week.
Okay.
Just,
Okay, we need to schedule budget meetings for late July or mid-August.
I am on vacation. I should have mentioned that earlier, because I'll be on vacation for the next town council meeting as well. I think, did we move it? Is that on 12?
It's the 13th.
Is that it? Yeah, I'll be on vacation. So I will not be back from vacation until July 27th.
How about we just send this in an email, because we need to wait for Tony too. We can't schedule this without Tony. So, we just send an email, we figure it out, and as soon as we take some dates, we'll let all the department heads know. We'll have like, I don't know until Tony's back then.
Where?
Tony?
Bill, do you know if Tony will be back for sanitation next Wednesday? I think she's back.
Yeah, she's back.
So I'll send an email, and then we can, I'm sure she'll respond at some point anyways. So, and then we'll have a date by next Wednesday, and we should just go from there. And let everyone know. Okay, so we have some open board seats.
Not currently, but anticipated.
Oh,
Yes, Sarah Outman submitted her resignation
Okay.
and it's effective July 31st.
okay.
I'm assuming Wilbur is going with her.
I thought so.
I haven't received his official resignation, but I've heard rumors.
He wrote it. I don't know why he didn't send it. He wrote it.
And maybe he sent it
Maybe
after I
change
shut
your
the
mind.
computer down today.
So,
He said he was gonna do it for the stormwater.
And maybe he sent it to Corinne. I
I don't
haven't
know.
officially received
I
it.
don't know.
Do we have to accept her resignation?
I think it's one of those things where she's moving to South Dakota.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to make her
The answer to your question is no, but when she moves from town, then she can no longer.
So then it would be your issue, not mine.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's a vacancy,
You suing.
there's a resignation or ultimately a vacancy.
Right, well, yeah. So it is an RC, that is your appointment, so
okay,
typically we none the council members that are of that party affiliation, so if you can find any Republicans
yes,
that
there's a
want to serve.
Republican Plan Commission seat,
Who's the precinct person?
when Wilbur submits his, there will be a sanitary
And a storm.
and a storm board,
And those are council appointments?
and they're not party affiliated, so.
Correct.
So if anyone's interested in storm or, can we advertise for those once we get Wilbur's resignation for storm and sanitary, please?
He said.
Okay,
I would just like to mention that, I put it to the end of July so that the council and the plan commission were not left short if there was need for quorum or something. But if there's somebody, at my last meeting, the plan commission will be the July 11th, something like that.
Yeah.
And, if it needs to be earlier, so a new person can be put in and get minutes and stuff like that, that's fine. I just didn't want to leave short of the time.
Would you consider longer time?
No.
I tried.
It's a good effort.
okay,
But thank you.
we've already discussed the commissioner pay, the police uniform allowance. So we need to be able to prorated if they are not active for the entire time, because as of now, even if we hire someone in March, you know, June, whatever, then the way we wrote it, it doesn't work.
The uniform allowance indicates that they aren't eligible until they've been here a year. So our newest officer was put in uniform. The town budget paid for it, like he went and then they paid through his uniform. He didn't receive it on his check. I am only speculating that the reason there was language that said we wouldn't prorate it is because even if they're only here 5 months out of the 6, they still need clothes. So maybe that was the thought process when this was originally drafted, but if you want to prorate it, it certainly is up to you. I'm just saying, I'm wondering if that was the thought process, like, we won't prorate it because even if they're here 5 months versus 6, or 4 months versus 6, they still need to have clothes. But I don't, you know, that's my thought, whatever you want to do.
What's wrong?
So we had the situation with uniform allowances. It states that if they're on what, like disability or leave,
If they're on leave,
it's
for
not
any reason, they don't receive the uniform
The uniform
allowance
allowance.
until they return.
Mhm.
And because it's
But
6
they're still,
months.
but they're still police officers.
Right. But if, so, once they return, that 6 months, because the uniform allowance is for 6 months, the language says it's not prorated. So for example, if an officer is on disability, he doesn't get uniform allowance while he's gone. When he returns, if there's only 2 months left in that 6-month period,
Uh-huh.
we're still paying him the full amount because it says I can't prorate it.
Yeah.
Okay, and so that's what they're just talking about. Does it need to be amended? Does it need to be changed? Does it make sense?
Okay.
Comments, questions, concerns, leave it, change it, do something.
I would just leave it right at this point because if you get hurt, and you come back 3 months into it, you're still gonna need summertime uniform, like the situation we have right now. Most of us, by the time we get done with our summer uniform, they're not worth putting back on the next one. I would mess with it if I was.
Okay.
You guys are all good with that? Okay,
Okay, approval of May 2022 financial report.
Moved.
Second,
Discussion. Roll call.
Councilwoman Bozak,
yes.
Councilman Loving,
Yes.
Councilwoman goodness sakes, that was a terrible one. Goodness sakes.
That was a new one.
Councilwoman McClure.
Yes.
Councilwoman Scott.
Yes. Approval to take vouchers with 3 more signatures.
So moved.
Sorry. Discussion. Roll call.
Councilman Loving,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCarr,
Abstain.
Councilwoman Bozak,
Yes.
Councilwoman Scott.
Yes. Jane, it's PO 2987 that we need to CCD.
2987
Yes, ma'am.
CCD, thank you.
Approval of purchase order submitted with 3 more signatures.
Second,
Discussion. Rob, I have one quick question for you.
Yes,
Econo signs, street signs, is that my request to have them off the poles? Are all those for to them off the poles?
partially, yes.
Yes. Roll call.
Councilman Loving,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCarr,
Abstain.
Councilwoman Bozak,
yes.
and Councilwoman Scott.
Yes.
Now I can't get that out of my head. Now it's really messing me up.
No, I think it was continued, so it's
Okay,
actually still open, right?
I don't have to open the unsafe building hearing, do I?
No,
Okay.
I emailed Rob, I don't know, I think he copied.
Did they start, did they start the porch and stuff yet? Okay. So it's,
Yeah,
they're
he's making progress, definitely.
That's fine with me. CF1 statement reviews for 2022 through 2023.
I have not received them. I did get a call earlier this week from the county audit assessor's office asking for approval to grant the abatement, and I said that they would not be allowed to be granted until the council had an opportunity to review it. I do not have good contact information for Lindy now because they, I had contact with Praxair. And so I asked the county if they would please contact Lindy and express to them they should contact us, kind of that, and I have not heard. So they sent the paperwork to county, but they have
How
not
long
sent it
ago
to
was that
us.
that you talked to county?
Earlier this week.
Okay.
Have we seen a copy of the paperwork?
No, they have not submitted it to us.
Oh, I didn't know if the copy if they're submitted directly to us.
They can't, I don't think they can release it to us. The property owner has to, the company has to release it to us. I don't know if the county can. And that's why I asked the county if they would please convey to the company that they should be reaching us, because I don't have good contacts to by name. And they were to the county. So they made the deadline for county, they just didn't get it to us. So.
Parking, crossing, stop signs, do you have anything going?
So we talked about this, there's already, what's the ruling on parking within proximity to stop signs? Is it 25 feet or 30?
30 state statutes.
So it's 30 by state statute, so there's no ordinance for us, we can take, 3 can come off a little business, so it's 30 feet, we know that. And Rob has rented the machine and they're gonna paint as soon as it's not ready,
Okay, trash service user fee,
in progress.
when does that need to be done and approved by?
I gotta read the ordinance.
I mean, I would think in somewhat in conjunction with your budget, because that's.
Can we get the draft, can we get a draft ordinance for that for next month too?
Right, I sent one,
You guys are-
and Tony replied and had a comment.
There's a last one.
Oh, the same one that we reviewed already, okay,
Send the last name.
what do you guys wanna do?
If you wanna, you and I can speak further, and I know Tony had some thoughts on
I
it.
have some markups at home. Also, I'll spend two.
You can send the markups, let's do it next month.
Okay. Flood hazard area. Does the ordinance need to be amended? I got that huge packet and Corinne took it from me with the floodplain and everything.
I did see an email from Tony that went to the
She did
person
send it.
requesting the change. I don't remember, did she CC the council on
She
that?
sent it and they said that they would get back to us, so it's been sent, so
Yeah.
we're just waiting for them.
Yeah.
Okay, the town rummage sale is scheduled for July 29th and 30th. You can call Corinne at the town hall to get placed on the map. Or you can even stop in and see her. Good of the order of the community and any other business that may come before the council.
I asked about the park thing again. So Kim said that she has a call out to Omni. And Omni already has a list of people that they're certifying. The lady's going to call her back tomorrow to give her the rest of the details on how long it takes and all of that stuff. It's $225 through Omni. It's approximately $225 through Omni to get the lifeguard certification. And the girl that she has the application in for Teen Health is willing to start the certification process as soon as Kim knows where she can send her and what day she can go. So Kim's just looking for us to, say that, yes, she can move forward with that.
So for one lifeguard,
It's gonna be 2
It's coming.
lifeguards.
I know, but how long are you gonna be able to stay open for?
Longer than they would without 2 lifeguards.
Their budget requires.
I mean, it's the parks
She's asking-
money,
I know.
but we're not, the park is not
Is this
coming to
something
the
you actually
town.
have to ask us for though?
Because it's been before where the town did not want anyone to be certified if they were not a town employee. The town did not want to pay for those type of things if they're not, because we can't hire her as a lifeguard until she has her certification. So she's not, the park is not asking the town for money to pay for it,
I
they're
don't think
just
it's, I
asking
don't think
if
it's
they.
a motion or anything, do you have any objections to that? I don't.
No, I just don't know.
Okay. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Okay, go to the order.
I have one more. Number
Okay. I drew you a
I know.
cupcake. Sorry.
I know how old you are, 'cause we're the same age. probably.
We got a fire department, so we'll have someone else like.
There's a huge yard sign in my yard. We can't
Oh, is
resist
there?
it. Go ahead.
Thank you. Craig Nagman with DLZ, representing the Tech Business Center Owners Association. First off, I'd like to say I'll put in a good word with my son, who's a Chesterton swim team and his teammates. So very good for that, but obviously, we need to talk about the road, and we'd like to, I guess, get your permission to talk to your engineering consultant. I have Kurt Schmiegel with DLZ, who is our representative.
Yes,
from an
hello, everybody.
engineering standpoint.
Kurt Schmiegel with DLZ, we've had some preliminary discussions with Global, I believe it is, so the town engineer consultant. And before they wanted to go further, they suggested we come to the town, ask for permission to talk with the town. Ultimately, what we'd like to do is design the road at some standard that I believe right now is somewhat vague in terms of what is needed for a town standard for that type of roadway that is on Tech Drive, with the potential to eventually have that road meet whatever standard the town would require to ultimately look at some type of memorandum of understanding to get that turned over to a town asset on that end. But first, we just want to have even a conversation with the engineering group to figure out what is a town standard that's going to be required. So we're starting the process now. We know it's been a headache. We obviously most appreciative to the fire and police who do go down that road to help all the Tech Business Center businesses. And just wanted to start the process here. So.
So I think that, just be very blunt, the general consensus is the town has no desire whatsoever to acquire that road as a piece of town property. I don't think there's any, there's a lot of traffic on it, it's already private. I don't think any, I can't speak for everybody, but I think I am. I don't think there's any desire to do that.
Okay. So then also then based on that, whatever repair then we perform is independent of the town as long as it meets your town safety requirements, which again, we're still not quite sure what that means from a passive side.
Rob, do you have any information on that for the roads?
Actually, it's on the town website, I believe.
So we have construction drawings.
Design standards.
Design standards on there. However, what the gentleman said was we do not have any major truck traffic design standards. And that's where Shim probably was referring to. So in the past, what we've always required them to upgrade that road to passable standards. Well, unfortunately, passable standards isn't holding up because of the heavy trucks and the type of traffic that goes down there. So one of the discussions we had before was that really that needs to be brought up to a truck traffic standard, where every month or I should say after every thaw, we're not calling, because a couple of years ago, we actually did a pretty decent cutout repair. But it's not gonna hold up because there's just not enough base under that road for the type of traffic that's there. So that's where I'm sure these gentlemen are, well, if we bring it up to the standard, what now? Can we turn that over to town or not? But that standard, we know is gonna include curbs, gutters, and sidewalks, because that's part of our standard for the residential. Does that really benefit the Tech Business Center? No. So that's where the big discussion is, but we do not have a design standard for heavy truck traffic for local streets.
So we need one.
Only if we were gonna accept that type of road, then we would, but right now it's not our intentions to, ever has been, to accept that as a private drive, just like Magnetics, that drive is not ours, that back there past the gate, so same standard.
I'm not sure if this matters, does anybody know, because I'm looking at the county assessor's website right now, and this appears to me, it shows the dashed line on the north side is Burns Harbor, on the south side, kind of here at this cul-de-sac is the city of Portage. So as part of this So property in the city of Portage. You know, Mike, that's a whole lot of things.
Just like Oak Tree Trailer Park is the city of Portage, what their kids go to do in schools.
If I could offer, just a little input. Yeah, the Martin Bobchick Global Engineering, we can look into, the property issues on that, right of way if need be. I know there are standards for who needs to maintain as far as a county or town, based on the east, west, north, or south lines. So I'm not sure of what they are at this time, but I can look into that and have that for the next meeting.
So I think what that's referencing, and Martin, this may help you too. I think what that's referencing is there was a deal between, at the time, CR England and the city of Portage to be able to pump that side that you're looking at, Clay, to be able to distribute the sanitation to the city of Portage. So half of that property pumps their sanitation to the city of Portage, and the other half comes to enforcement and to us. That was the Sammy Maletta and CR England thing that happened. So that may be what that's referencing, that there's an easement right away there.
Okay, that makes sense.
So then any design, just to continue, I guess, to finalize this, any design that we do, as long as it passes passable
It's on
requirements, is on us, has nothing to do with the town.
Yes.
We can do whatever we want to.
Mhm.
Okay.
I believe passable would still, be up to how Bill and the city's emergency equipment. It still is up to how, whether or not they can use their equipment for that. And I would recommend doing a pavement design with the mechanistic and pavement design that NDOT has and specifies for their projects.
Sure, yeah, based on standards, and it doesn't, that's a recommendation versus a requirement, I'm assuming is what you're stating, so.
Right, exactly. I'd recommend using that, and but it still is up to the discretion of the emergency vehicles. It does have to be passable. That being passable is a requirement.
Correct.
And my recommendation is that you follow the NDOT pavement design standards.
Correct.
Anything else?
Is that reflected in the notes then?
It's only a minute.
Okay.
Sarah?
Couple things. I had sent an email as Village Land Company to the town council regarding the process for having streetlight locates within the village in Burns Harbor and public property. And I was told this was where I had to come to find out what the process would be for that to happen. It was accepted by the council as their responsibility, I believe, in 2010. And those minutes were attached to the email that I sent. I had started with a different department, was told I need to come to council first, so that's why I'm here. There have been a couple of times when, one in the past, when the streetlight line was cut, and because it wasn't located, and a couple times recently, it's been pretty close, so I would like to be able to get that process into place for public safety. Currently, you can talk to the department heads for this, but I believe that the 811 notifies our departments, the sanitation department, about bills that are locate requests that have come in. And when those come in, they do theirs. I was wondering if there's possibly some way that maybe could be piggybacked onto that process so that we check for electric lines at the same time. It would probably be a lot easier if at some point those lines were mapped and added to the town system, which is also within the sanitation department. So you have a permanent record of where they are, so it's not quite as costly and time consuming to locate them over time.
So we don't have a map of them currently?
I don't think anybody does actually. I know where a lot of them are, but that's just, because I've seen them.
You're not gonna be all found out.
I don't know.
No, I do.
What?
Land drawing of where they-
Well, because there was never no as-bills given to them, because we found this out, like she said, when some of them got cut. You would have to spend the money to get an electrician out here and trace them all, and then somebody give you a diagram of that grid. Cause I can tell you now, it took Pat back then just to figure out how to wire one back up to where it got cut at. They couldn't figure out even where it was fed from, so.
Now, along with that, I do have, when we did Triangle Park last summer, the electrician was kind enough to do a couple extras, so I have an idea of where a lot of those are. But I wouldn't count on it as the only place. I also know that in my own personal house, when we built it, we almost clipped the line that came along the street utility easements. So there's also one between houses that were one was recently built, so this could become a problem soon, but I'm happy to give you whatever photos I have of locates there in the past, or kind of give you an idea where they are, and I'm sure there are a few other people that might know some information. What do we need to do next?
I'll make a motion to instruct Rob Wesley to go out for bid on this and figure out how much this is gonna cost.
Second. Discussion?
He has to send it to 3, he doesn't have to receive.
Yeah. Request 3.
Roll call?
Councilwoman Bozak,
Yes.
Councilman Loving,
Yes.
Councilwoman McCart,
Yes.
Councilwoman Scott.
Yes.
Related to locates, just a word of warning, I guess. That with the locate companies, sometimes they are not located as promptly as they're supposed to be. And sometimes they miss things. We recently had a situation where I knew there was a major fiber optic trunk line that went along the alley on the east side of the village that did not get marked until after the foundation was dug. And I called to find out if they called for a locate request. They had. I went to my contacts with Comcast and I saw their email chain. It was supposed to be marked by end of day. It was days later that they finally got in there. So just be aware that there are sometimes those issues in towns. I'm pretty sure the sanitation department knows that, but it happens in other areas as well. And the third thing, this is on a more personal level, I sent a number of noise complaints about our friend here at Lindy. I kind of got tired of sending them because it happens all the time. Is it worth keep sending them? That noise goes all the time.
Oh.
It's got worse.
Yeah, like last week I was sick, and so I was home all day in bed, and I could hear it all.
Where's it
day.
at, Bill? Because I can't find it.
Oh, you get over in our subdivision, it's horrible. It sounds like a shop vac running.
Where's it coming from?
It goes at night and on weekends a lot, and sometimes all day long.
It's whenever they got the dryer on. When they start trying to reclaim the air, that's when it's loud.
This goes back to May of last year.
Oh, probably longer. One of my neighbors told me they were considering moving because they can't stand the noise.
Is there?
Are they,
I don't know what to do about it.
2 things. One, that complex has been there a lot longer than the subdivision has, so everybody knew what they were getting into.
No, it's a very recent
The
noise.
noise is new as of May of last
Well,
year.
yeah.
So they may
It's still a subdivision right next to an industrial site.
No,
I mean,
that's not what it was, Nick. It has happened, and I know that Mike has worked in the past with them.
Yeah.
And they located it and they were able to make adjustments and it got quite a bit better.
Is it a noise violation though by decibel level?
Not by our.
No, so it's not, yeah, that's the problem, is
But they'll work with us if I can find it. I don't know trying to find it. The one that, the one.
You think it's the dryer?
Oh, I know what it is. I know the plan, I know exactly what it
Can
is.
we tell them that
There's nothing they can do about it. I mean, it's a piece of machinery that's there. The only way they could do is not reclaim that. You have to understand the process it's doing.
Yeah.
They reclaim that and then they dry it and then they suck that oxygen back in. And what that does, it's a big cost savings to them, first of all. So it's a huge production thing for them. They tried to reposition the pipe a little bit. The problem is the exhaust port of it. The problem is depending on which way the wind's blowing, if the trees have leaves, all that comes into play with it. So I understand that because me and Mike went and did the walkthrough with them on it. But I will also say it's very annoying because it's loud.
Why is this a newer noise though?
It's new machinery they put in back then to do that. Again, it's a cost savings for them.
because it's not, if the decibels don't go above what the ordinance states is a nuisance.
We don't have a machine to measure it and I don't know if they have.
They do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing you can really do is go. Have Mike go out there and they can measure it again. And see if it's above what it's supposed to be.
Can we ask him to measure it again when the dryer's running and see what it is?
Yes, I will.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I can hand read. Yes, you
Yeah,
can.
it's in regards to the 4th of July. Last year, I had the first year in the 15 years I've been here that I didn't come to 4th of July. And a certain person decided to blow off fireworks, have a display at one of our parks. They should have went to jail, but my guys, instead of starting a riot, they left, stopped them, but left. Are you guys in our parks, any of our parks without a permit, are you going to allow fireworks to go off in them?
No.
Display fireworks?
No.
All right, if they come to try to get a permit, are you gonna give a permit for Harbor Trail Fire Park?
In town-owned park.
In the park, yes.
There's a whole thing.
Personally, I believe the houses are too close. I don't think it would pass fire marshals
No,
rules on it or anything like that. The person should have went to jail last year,
they will need a permit and they will have to apply for that permit. And it will
and they haven't done that at this time.
approved or rejected by the acting building commissioner.
Fire
Marshal, someone in the town's gonna have to approve it.
I think the state has to
Yeah,
as
it has
well.
to
Bill
go to
can
the
speak to
state, they
that.
have to sign off.
I mean, they're free to try.
Excuse me. Having been a building commissioner for 20 years elsewhere. When the fireworks started, the state building commissioner deputies were assigned to the fireworks suppliers, retailers, to monitor what they're doing. So if you really want a definitive answer, you would just call the state building department, which is under the Department of Homeland Security buildings. And if you want, let's exchange numbers. I used to be able to walk through the halls down there and I can give them a call.
Not a job.
But that's.
Is that where the job applications?
Oh. Do I look that nuts? I may know.
That was it.
Okay. Anything else?
Motion adjourned.
Discussion? Roll call?
Councilman Bozak.
Yes.
Councilman Levy.
Yes.
Councilwoman Carr.
Yes.
Councilwoman Scott. Yes.
Happy birthday.
I have something.
We
We have something to deliver. Excellent.
We gotta figure out how Somebody probably go there and let them know that.
Appreciate it.
100% reiterate. Oh, so like right here.
That way he's not surprised when he goes to jail.
Let's do that, yeah.
I'm going right to you, you go first.
Yeah, yeah, pursue,